more good about who you call yourself or where you come from. Yeah, there is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let the light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. Wise, now and unfold. Embrace and let go. Trust the flow. There's a people in love. When you follow your heart, together we are stronger than we could ever be apart. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yes. There is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let the light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome. You are welcome here. Breathe in and out. Slowly feel all that's around you. All that you need, all that you know. Saying, oh, welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. When we unite. Good morning and welcome to Center for Spiritual Living Ocala. How are y'all doing this beautiful Central Florida day? Hello. Fabulous, fabulous. That's how we like to start a Sunday morning in the week, right? Yes, so you all are welcome here. I hope you feel that. I hope you know that. How many first-time visitors do we have? I know there's at least three in that row over there. Somebody back here. Lovely, lovely. Y'all give a little extra love to our first-time visitors. It's really nice when they come and join us. And these are extra special first-time visitors because they're my family. A little extra. So get this. It's two cousins on my dad's side, one cousin on my mom's side, and known each other for years, but they're kissing cousins now. But they're not in the same family line. I just want to make that clear, okay? All right. So yes. I did. I just put y'all on blast. All right. So what are we about here at Center for Spiritual Living Ocala?
Our mission here is to embody and share truth principles and spiritual practices that empower us to feel, to awaken to that power and presence that lies within all things, right? Some of us call it God, some call it creator. Some people don't like any of those words. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It is here now, sitting where you are. So take a look around the room and look at the face of God because it is all around you. Yes, and we do this practice so that we can elevate, right? So that we can heal ourselves and heal others. So as we elevate our own individual consciousness, we're raising the consciousness for the planet. And that is a beautiful thing. That's why I love to play with you folks here. So, our vision is that we are a thriving New Thought community dedicated to spiritual growth and practice, as well as sacred activism and the love that reveals our interconnectedness. And what sacred activism means is that intersection between consciousness and action. It's the place where prayer and service activate love and spiritual principles. It's not about, you know, prayers and thoughts, which are lovely, but where are the actions? What are the things that we put behind that? So that's what we're about here is creating the world that we want to see. Okay, that's what it means to be a spiritual activist, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. And so the things that are important to us are values, and you should know your own values. Everyone, does everyone here done your own like a values list to see what is really important for you? It's really vital, and it'll keep you. I call it like the guardrails of my life, you know, because sometimes you fall off the edge, but those values will keep you on track when you're living what is yours to do. So these are our values here: the wholeness of spirit, spiritual and personal growth. We value collaborative, synergistic community. And what that means is that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, right? Because we come together, we are better, we are wiser, we are stronger. We value abundance and prosperity, love and compassion, appreciation, gratitude, peace, balance, freedom, diversity, and inclusion. We can say it here, and it's all right to say. In fact, we embrace it because we know that that is our power, right? That we are stronger because of our diversity and because we include everyone in that. And lastly, but not least, generosity. All right. So, what we're talking about today, Fifth Sunday, we always do a little bit something different. And this idea of the Radiance Hub is something I've been speaking with friends and folks from this community for actually for years, for years. And it's kind of an outreach of CSL Ocala as an outreach as well of Circle Up Center for Practical Peace Building, which is the nonprofit organization that I founded with some friends several years ago that is dedicated to peace building. A lot of what I teach here is things that we teach also in Circle Up, but Circle Up is a more secular organization. It's what I can do out in the world where people don't want to hear really about spirituality and God. So I kind of slip it in the back door. They don't know that's what I'm talking about when I share it with them. And why? Why is this needed? Why is this stuff needed? 21st century leadership requires self awareness, authenticity, empathy, the ability to self manage emotions, especially in conflict, during crisis, and under pressure. How many of you would agree with that? That's what it means really to be a good leader, and these are skills that we all need. And if you're sitting here thinking you're not a leader, you're wrong. Because there are people all throughout your life, I guarantee you, that you may not even know it, that are looking to you as a leader, whether it is as a parent, as a grandparent, as a coworker. There are folks that are looking to you for guidance, and so you might as well step into it and do it in the best possible way. And that's part of what the kind of skills and what we're imparting here. And so that quote comes from the Harvard School of Business. So it's really been well thought out and well considered. So this is who I like to preach to and teach to, is the people who are on the front lines of life. Folks who are doing the hard jobs, the hard work, and to give them the skills and the understanding that they need so that they can keep doing that work so much better. So let's see. Click. There we go. So the Radiance Hub is a peace and wellness collaborative for helpers, healers, and heart-centered leaders. I was saying servant leaders, but some folks don't like that word. You know, the idea of, but it's the same thing. To be a servant leader and to be a heart-centered leader to me is the same thing. And so we exist to help people reset, reconnect, and radiate peace out into the world through peace building education, which again is a lot of what I do, even in here on Sundays. I'm doing a lot of the stuff that we do through Circle Up, through building supportive community and embodied wellness practices. So, what that means is that we don't just talk about these practices, we do them. We want you to feel it in your body to understand what it feels like really to have peace in here. So, it doesn't stop in your head, it's all the way in body, like you feel it. And some people, I'm one of them, that has been on kind of high alert for most of my life. Can anyone else relate to that? It's like that switch that keeps you on never goes all the way off. So I've struggled with that. And these are the practices that I do so that I can get over that. And I have uh, come a long, long way. And that lady over there has been a big part of that. You're going to get to hear from her in a little bit from Pam Deese, and also immersive technology. So, the nervous system is the gateway to peace. I don't know if y'all know this, but your nervous system, your physiology is your own gateway to feeling peace. And so, science confirms what mystics have long known, that healing is an experiential thing. It's not, again, not just something up here that we talk about, but something that we feel and we experience and we embody. And so, your power lies within. And by learning to regulate your nervous system, you can shift from that reactive state, which we talk about a lot here, right? We don't want to react. We want to be able to respond. How many of you know my favorite quote? Go ahead. Remember it? There you go. Yes. Between stimulus and response, between the thing that happens and what you do about it, there is a space. And so a lot of the practices that we teach here are to tune you into that space so that you're not reacting. And in that space, when you make that response, is your power, is your personal power, right? And your freedom. When you cannot be in a reactive state of mind all the time, when you can take that time to let me breathe and think about what I really want to say here, what I really want to do. And so it's about learning to regulate your nervous system so you can shift from that reactive state of fight, flight, freeze. Y'all know about that? There's a couple more too. There's also fawning and flopping, but that's a whole other. That's another workshop. But changing you, what's that? Yeah, the 5 F's. It's probably more than that. And our purpose is then to provide understanding practices and principles so that we can reset and reconnect. And I put reconnect in quotation marks because we are always connected. We are always connected to source. We are always connected to one another. We don't always feel it. We don't always feel it. And that's part of the practices that we offer here so that we can come back to remember what it feels like to be connected. And so our purpose is to provide understanding practices and principles to help you reset, reconnect body, mind, and spirit. And then there's that little scripture there. Behold, the kingdom of God is within you. And this is how we access it. So, did you know there's going to be a lot of science today? There's going to be some science, there'll be some philosophy, a little bit of spiritual, but it's all spiritual when you get to, right? It's all spiritual, like traditionally spiritual, because spirit is what underlies all of it. So, a little science. The social brain represents the only biological in our bodies that continually attunes us to and in turn becomes influenced by the internal state of people we are with. Now, how many of you know that's true? If your partner, if your friend, if your loved one is in a funky state, sometimes it's a little harder to keep yourself up, right? But we all have the capacity. We all have the capacity to be a driver in this thing, especially when we do it with intention, right? That we're not getting dragged around with other people's emotions and what's going on for them, but that we can stand in our truth, in our peace and understanding. Why is this important? How many of you know emotions are contagious? Right? Emotions are far more contagious than any disease. A smile or panic will spread through a group of people faster than any virus ever could. Right? You know it when you walk into space. So we are trying to teach all of us, myself included, to be more intentional in what it is that we bring to the space. So we are, I don't know if you know this, but we are living broadcasting towers responsible for the energy we give and receive. Right? We're broadcasting, but we're also receiving. We're also all the time, all the time. As the body metabolizes food, your awareness, AKA your consciousness, is energetically metabolizing your experiences. Have you ever thought about that? Isn't that fascinating, right? As your body takes in food and does what it needs to do, it takes what it needs, it gets rid of the rest. Your consciousness is doing the same thing with your experiences. It is taking them in, it is taking what's useful, sometimes what's not so useful, right? To be honest. And it turns that into chemical signals that are then affecting your physiology. Yeah, it's big. It's big. And so what we have this morning, a member of our hub. There's only three of us right now, but we're looking to expand this idea of the hub. But the woman we have speaking today is Pam Deese. It's not clicking. Can you do it for me? Click it for me. Something's going on. There we go. Heart math. Heart math. Meet your heart today. So our presenter for this part of what we're doing together today is Pam Deese, and I think her title is Hannah Somatics therapist, educator. Yes, she's uh, she's been a friend for a long time, and she's served on the board here at Center for Spiritual Living Ocala. She does body work that is just incredible, just amazing with her hands, and she's a science geek. And she has a really, really cool Alabama accent. So, y'all are going to really love listening to her. And I'm going to let Pam tell you the rest about heart math and how you can use these ideas and some of the exercises that she's going to teach you today to get yourself into that state of peace and coherence. No matter what crazy is happening in your world, you can be like the eye of the storm where there is calm and peace. Would that be useful for anyone else or just me? Oh, okay, good. Wonderful. Take
All
it
right,
away, Pam.
is the mic working here?
It
I just
is.
all right, magic button in the back. All right, hello everybody. It feels a little bit better to stand here and look at you instead of sitting there thinking about it, you know. And one of the things I never thought I wanted to do was speak after Cindy spoke. Has anybody had that feeling? It's like, no. But yeah, so we're going to talk about heart math today, and this is something that I came to heart math through a lot of different ways, and that's basically what I'm going to tell you is how I kind of got there and what I believe it's good for. So meet your heart day today. This is what we're all going to be about is meet your heart day today. So this should be fun. But when I first started deciding that I was going to talk about heart math, I'm sitting in front of my computer at home and I'm thinking, this is too big. This is way too large. I can't talk about heart math. How am I going to bring that down into like an hour talk or something? So let's just look at what the Heart Math Institute has been looking at. The research is psychophysiology of stress. Well, that's a whole big word full right there, right? Now, how does stress affect your body? What does stress got to do with emotions, right? And then the interaction between the heart and the brain via the nervous system. So all of these things are popping up in my head, and there is a lot of them. And I'm sitting there in front of the computer, and I'm like, maybe this is not such a good idea. And I'm thinking, well, maybe I should practice some heart math. How about that? So it was a good chance for me to get into the practice of heart math for the past month. So the first thing I want us all to do is if you feel like it and you're able to, go ahead and stand up for me. So we're talking about the nervous system, and Shake it out. Yes, what's one of the best ways that we can just shake off energy? So did everybody have a hard time getting here this morning? Somebody run out in front of you in traffic? Shake it off. Let them go, right? Ooh, all right. And now let's go ahead and sit down. So that's just part one. Hopefully you got a little bit of energy out, right? So part two, if you can, just be comfortable in your chair. Go ahead and place both feet on the floor. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to begin to track our nervous system. Just to get started real quick here, we're going to do a little track your nervous system and get to meet your heart just for a few seconds, okay? So if you're feeling comfortable and you're okay, go ahead and close your eyes for me. And then just begin to feel your feet on the floor. Maybe if you have sandals on, you can feel the cool temperature, or you start to feel the cloth of your clothes as you move up towards your legs and up towards your seat. And you're leaning back in the chair and just feel that the chair is supporting you. You can let everything go in this second and enjoy the feeling of relaxing into the chair. And is there anything that's been up for you this morning? Is there a sensation in your body? Maybe a little vibration, maybe a humming, maybe you feel your heartbeat already. And just notice the sensations that are there. And then as you begin to inhale, see if you can slow your inhale down. Maybe you can inhale to the count of 5 and exhale to the count of 7. Make the exhale as long as you can. And then begin to notice there's a point at the end of the exhale where you haven't yet begun to inhale. Notice that second where nothing's happening. And then take your next breath. And then as you're traveling up through the body, bring your attention to the heart area, right behind the sternum, a little bit over to the left. And then breathe into your heart. And then slowly exhale all the way through the body and let everything go and relax into your chair. Great. Now go ahead and open your eyes. Does everybody feel nice and calm now? Thank you. Me too. Uh-oh. We were so calm, we got something on the screen here. All right, there we go. Okay, so a little bit about me. As Cindy said, I'm currently a hanasomatic educator, and nobody really knows what that means. It is a form of movement therapy. Has anybody in here heard of Moshe Feldenkrais, somatic exploration, Peter Levine, these kind of things? Yeah. So it's right on that same method. I teach people how to move, and what usually happens is then we might find some emotions associated in there somewhere, right? So then I had to go back to school and get some somatic psychology and environmental studies. And then I had gotten introduced into heart math, and I wanted a little bit more about it. So then I started studying heart math because it goes right along with somatic education and the nervous system, right? And then being outdoors. So I'll show you here how everything kind of come about. So Somatics is a learning method rooted in neuroplasticity. So everybody got a pretty good idea about how neuroplasticity works nowadays, right? We can change things in our bodies. We can change things in our minds. We're not stuck. Whatever you were born with is not all you have to be. We used to think that, right? That whatever brain we had, that's all we was ever going to get. Whatever was going in our life, we didn't have any control over it. But neuroplasticity says, no, we do have control over these things. By improving our awareness, people can change not just your movement, but your thinking, your sensing, and your feelings, right? So to give you a pretty good example, I had one of my first clients that was coming into me came in with her right arm that was about as hard as a rock. I mean, it was just, she had pain in her wrist and all the way up into her shoulder. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I couldn't believe it. I was like, I had never seen anything. So I start working up the right arm and into her shoulder, and it feels all better. She's great. She leaves. She calls me after a few days and says she needs to come back in. And when she comes back in, it's the exact same thing. So I'm like, okay, there's something going on here. There's something you're doing or whatever. So we start working through the arm, the shoulder, the neck, and it's feeling good. It's all loose again. I go over to the other side just to start comparing it. And she's laying on the table and she starts talking about her daughter and her grandson. Her daughter had just got divorced and had moved in with her. And she was so happy that she was able to provide them with a place to stay. She was just, her face was kind of smiling. She was excited that she could provide that to them. But at the same time, I'm working on her left arm and I'm looking over there at her right, and her fist is just unbelievably tight. Her hand is just curling into her arm, and every muscle you could see it. And I'm like, I thought I was hurting her. I backed up. I took my hand off of her and I said, "Did I hurt you on this side? I'm sorry." And she said, "No, you didn't hurt me at all." I said, "Could you look at your right hand?" And as soon as she looks over there at it, she starts to uncurl it, and she's like, "Oh my goodness." She sits up on the table and she looks at me. She's like, "I know what I got to do." And I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "I got to find my daughter an apartment." I thought, whoa, okay, that's an emotional release, right? That was a good one. That was calm. I could kind of handle that one. But yet people were coming to me a lot of times with physical pain, and there would be an emotional output. And I was like, oh, I don't know how to handle this. And I can't tell everybody they need to go see a psychologist. That wouldn't get me very many repeat customers, would it? So that's when I decided that I had to go back to school. And yep, so I might need to go back one. So I had been to Boulder, Colorado, and found Naropa University there. And it was a real, I mean, it's one of those places when you walked onto the actual grounds, you just felt good. It's a Buddhist inspired contemplative type of education. Most of the classes were anywhere from 10 to 15 people. We sat in a circle for every class. There was a meditation room. As soon as you walk in the front doors, there's a meditation room with everything going on over here. So I just thought that was the best place for me to go back. And I was going so I could learn more about emotions and how to help other people. But guess what happened? Right? I learned about my emotions, right? But so somatic psychology is the developmental field of integrating body, mind, and emotions. Our experience toward wholeness are inseparable. You can't say that I can just be a physical person and not an emotional person, right? And here in the West, we like to say mind, body. Some cultures don't even have a word that would separate the heart from the brain, right? And we like to. We think we can. So that was a somatic psychology piece, but I was also interested in the outdoors. I mean, they had something called, wilderness therapy there, right? And to do wilderness therapy, you had to take all these environmental courses. Well, I looked through the environmental course section and I found all the courses that said you could spend 4 days to 7 days in the mountains of Colorado that term. So I was like, that's the ones I'm signing up for, right? So, we went up to the mountains and we would have like these solo walks. And one of the days I'm out there, and we've been out there for like 7 or 8 hours most of the time, just out there in the wilderness all by yourself. And I was kind of taking a break. I was laying on the side of the mountain in some taller grass, and I started hearing something off to my one side. And I thought, what is that? So I sit up and I'm looking, and you could see it from a distance. The top of the trees are blowing, the leaves are just flowing all the way through, right? And then it starts getting closer and closer until it's right on top of me, and all the trees are blowing, and then it's gone. And all of a sudden, in that moment, I had the best sensation of being connected to everything. I was no different than the leaves on the trees blowing, the clouds blowing through, the wind that has just suffered, just, just all of a sudden gone through. So I was really finding me out there, of all things. I'm here to learn about emotion so I can help other people, but it's just soaking in. I am beginning to feel who I am and who I should be, and not who I was taught I should be, right? And into the forest I go to lose my mind and find my soul. So you could say that I did a lot of that when I was in Naropa, right? So there's a divine presence in us all. Divine intelligence resides in creation. Every element of nature, from rocks to trees to humans, is to believe to contain the intelligence of the divine. Where there is the presence of the divine, there is also the vibration of love. So that vibration of love is one of the things we're going to kind of continue to talk about because it's what we want to learn to grow. And then we really want to learn to spread it also. So ancient wisdom, I had to learn something else too, because, my interdisciplinary study let me kind of pick and choose from different areas. And the indigenous wisdom is just got so much to teach us if we would just learn from them, right? So Chinese medicine and the psychology of five elements. So they got five elements: fire, earth, metal, water, and wood. But the one I really want to talk to you about is fire, right? Because in each one of these five elements, they have two organs that are associated with each one of them. Well, the organs that are associated with fire are the heart and the small intestines. Now, what do we know about the nervous system nowadays? We have a small nervous system in our heart. We also have a nervous system in our small intestines. So how brilliant are these people, right? Not only that, but they say the heart is the supreme ruler of all the lower organs. It gets information from everything below it, and then feeds it up to the brain. It was kind of hard to understand that and believe it, but yet it made all perfect sense. The fire element to them is about love and warmth and passion, right? And if we're balanced and we're good, those are the attributes that we have. If we're unbalanced, then we have frustration, anger, disappointment, depression, those kind of things. So this was completely, ancient wisdom, and I thought they were smarter than all of us. They knew this years ago, right? But we had to hook up people to machines, and we have to watch the biofeedback, and we have to see it actually work, and then we can talk about it, right? So lots of people share that philosophy, and then the heart is our source of intelligence and inner guidance, okay? So some of you may know this: as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. So it's not just ancient wisdom. Well, I guess you could say the Bible's ancient, right? They knew this, right? Thinking happens in the heart, not in the brain. Can you just imagine that for just a second? Thinking happens in the heart, not the brain. That's kind of hard to get your mind around sometimes, right? Yep. So the heart is our guiding force. The nervous system is our body's communication and control network, and the heart is part of that communication and control, okay? Your heart is a major part of that communication system, and then here's the 4 ways the heart communicates with the rest of the body. We're going to talk about neurological here in a minute, biochemical, and biophysical. The heart actually, like I said, it has neurons in it. It has a nervous system in it. It produces hormones all by itself just because it got a signal that says we need some hormones, right? This is the heart, not the brain doing that, okay? Biophysical, the pressure waves. So every time your heart beats, it creates a certain amount of pressure, blood pressure in the heart veins, right? That blood is pumped through the body. Every cell in your body is picking up on that information. How much pressure in those veins means something. How much blood is flowing means something. So the cells in your body are getting information from the heart, okay? And then energetic, the electromagnetic field. So we're going to talk about just a little bit about the neurological and the energetic. The heart's intrinsic nervous system has, they estimate, about 40,000 neurons in the heart to create communication pathways, right? Signals from the heart, signals from the lower body. Signals travel from the heart to the brain via the vagal nerve and the spinal cord, a few of them back and forth from the spinal cord as far as the parasympathetic nervous system goes, to influence the emotional centers like the amygdala and the hypothalamus. Here's the important part about the vagal nerve. The vagal nerve, there's 2 of them that comes out of the the brainstem, right? Before it goes into the spinal cord, there's 2 vagal nerves that comes out. They're big, thick nerves coming out of the side of the neck, and they come down, and they meet right about the back of the heart, close to the front side of the spinal cord. And then they go down. Well, while they're coming out, they have little nodes that go off. They break out into all the nerves around the face, right? Then they come down and they have a branch that goes into our vocal cords, our esophagus. There's branches that come off and go to the lungs, and then the heart, the kidneys, right? The small intestines and the large intestines. All of this is getting fed information from the same major nerve. All of this is sending information back up. It then meets around the heart, and the heart is sending information up to the brain via the beating of the heart. The heartbeat is how we get our information to the brain, okay? There is 80% of the communication in this vagal nerve, which controls our parasympathetic nervous system, which is our nervous system that calms us down, right? That brings us back to balance. 80% of that information is going up to the brain. Only 20% of the information comes out of the brain into the body, okay? So that's huge. The brain is sending a whole lot more information up than the other way, right? I mean, the heart is sending more up. Thank you. Yeah. Now the fun one, the electromagnetic field, right? The heart generates the largest rhythmic electromagnetic field, measurable several feet away. So we all kind of know this, right? The heart is producing an electromagnetic field, they say, about 6 foot away from us, 3 foot on each side. I think the largest one they measured was 8 foot away, but they can measure this electromagnetic field. We are, as Cindy said a while ago, right? We have, imagine this electromagnetic field with little antennas, right? We got antennas all around us, I mean, completely around our body. And their job is to pick up information constantly. All right, but we're also sending information out through that same electromagnetic field, right? So we're telling everybody how we feel, whether we want to or not. Now, sometimes we want people to know how we feel, right? You know, that passive aggressive anger. It works. It is a real thing. People can pick up on that energy whether you say a word, right? Right. And you can walk into a room and you can tell when there's good energy or bad energy floating around, right? So we are extremely capable of listening to all this energy and figuring out what it means to us, right? If we're not paying attention, it is subconsciously affecting us on a regular basis, okay? So it does influence our internal regulation and our interpersonal communications. So what does that mean? If I pick up negative energy from somebody and I get this blast in my gut and it's kind of churning and I'm not paying attention to it, then I might let this person that might be a danger to me into my life because I'm not listening to my signals, right? But if I'm listening to those signals and I feel that little churn, then I'll be like, maybe that person's not real safe. Maybe they're a threat, right? So we have to learn how to have this awareness of what messages we're picking up on. Now, Stephen Porges is one of the main speakers on the polyvagal theory, and he coined a term, neuroception. So neuroception is all that energy that's out there outside of us. Between the trees, the flowers, the plants, and other people and other animals, there's all this energy, right? They're producing it just like we are. And he calls that neuroception. We can be completely oblivious of it, or we can choose to tune into it and start paying attention to what we're picking up. Now, when that information comes into the body and it starts affecting my system, then those are sensations that we call interoception. Can I figure out what that information means, right? Do I blame that stomach ache on my pizza last night, or do I blame it on some energy that's floating around, right? So we have to pay a little bit more attention. And keep pointing it over there. So we are transmitting as well as receiving. So just recognize that you're always sending information out and you're always picking information up. It's up to us whether we pay attention to it. All right. So are y'all ready to play a little bit with me here? Okay. So we're going to do a little listening activity, and this might be different than anybody's done before because, as I've said, we communicate in so many different ways. You remember when I was talking about the vagal nerve comes down and it has these little branches that go off to different parts of the face, right? So we are reading people's emotions all the time. Are they smiling? Do their faces light up? Do their eyes get bigger when they're excited, right? And then the voice. So we listen to people's voice, right? If they're nervous or if they're sad and in grief, we might hear the voice crack. We might hear different things come out of them, right? Posture, hand gestures. You notice I'm all hand gestures. I got all parts going there, right? So, and then breath, eyes, and posture. So what I want you to do is I just want you to find somebody next to you that you're going to have a communication with, okay? One person is going to speak. One person is going to listen. Now, the listening person's job, I guess I can tell you, will be the most difficult, right? You're going to not just listen to the words they're saying, you're going to be paying attention to their body. Does the words they're saying match their voice? Do their emotions that they are projecting match the story they're telling? Have you ever had somebody tell you a sad story, but yet they got a smile on their face, right? Kind of like my client that was so proud that she could help her daughter, but yeah, right? So look at the body for as much information as you can, because that's kind of like that neuroception, right? It's not words, it's not coming in through the ears, right? But we can look at the eyes too. We can look at all kinds of stuff. Okay, so has everybody got a kind of a partner, somebody they can have a discussion with? If you don't want to talk to somebody you know because you came with them, it's okay to pick somebody else out. All right, so one more thing. One more thing. I'm going to give you about 2.5 minutes for the communicator. Just tell a story about something that's up for you that you want to talk about, right? So I'll give you about 2.5 minutes. I'll give you about 2.5 minutes to talk. And then when I stop you, I want the listeners to say, okay, when you talked about this, I noticed you sat up taller, or I noticed you smiled, or I noticed you were happy. So when you spoke about A, you did B. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Does that make sense? Notice something other than their words and then ask them about that point. Okay? All right, let's go.
We're supposed to tell each other a story.
Just one person talks, one person listens, and listen for more than just words. Okay? Doesn't matter what you say. Would you like to tell me a story? Would you like to tell me a story? Okay. My mind's going too much to tell you one. Is she coming back? Okay. I need like a ding. Okay, time's up. Can you hear me? Hello, time's up. Hi. Okay, now for the people that were listening, listen up. So the people that were listening now say, when you talked about something, this, I noticed your body or something in your personality had this reaction. Can you tell me more about that point? Let's go. All right. I feel like I need to put the gong on the mic over here. Okay, let's bring it back in. Woo, y'all are a bunch of talkers. Is my mic still on? Can they hear me? All right, guys, let's bring it back in. Y'all are some good communicators. All right, though, I would like for somebody from the listening side to volunteer to give me an idea of what you felt, not what you thought, not what you saw, but what you felt while you were listening to their communication, their story. Can anybody want to volunteer to that? Excited. So, can you tell me what? Yeah, can you tell me what excited feels like?
Joy. Is it working? Joy.
What does joy feel like? Right?
I don't have a word for it.
I know, right?
It's,
Yeah.
it's
So she's got emotion going, right? She's got energy flowing
the
for joy.
energy,
She's got a
the-
big
yeah.
smile on her face, right?
Yes.
So, a sensation is something that happens in the body before we label an emotion to it, right?
Yes.
Right? So, learning how to define our emotions or that sensation we have is a little bit deeper than the word joy or energy or emotion, right? It's like there was a bubbly feeling, right? Or I felt the vibration in my body, right? I felt my shoulders lift up, right? Does
That's
that
what
make
I
sense?
meant to say.
All
Oh, yes.
right. All right. One more person. Anybody want to brave it?
This is special. This is special because she was excited and I knew about the excitement that she was speaking of. And when she turned and changed it, I felt the sadness in her words.
Ah, so
So
that
that
sadness.
sadness also, not that I didn't want to get that, follow that path, but I decided to join her so that she wouldn't be alone in that.
Ah.
That makes sense?
So how did that sadness grab you on the inside?
It almost made me cry.
Right. Okay. Yeah. All
That
right.
makes sense?
Right behind you. Yeah. Yes, it does. Thank you very much. Now, if I could get one or two volunteers that were actually doing the talking, who was doing the communicating that would actually like to speak?
What do you want to know?
What did it feel like? What did you feel?
I felt regret, remorse, frustration, a little bit of anxiety,
From the
sadness,
story you're telling or from the experience of communicating?
both.
Both? Okay.
Mhm.
Now, what did that regret feel like in the body, though?
Anxiety.
Exciting?
I felt the butterflies in my chest.
Okay,
But
great.
not the good butterflies
Right.
that you feel
Yeah,
like
okay.
when you're in love or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
But a kind of a tightness or a tingling or something just, yeah.
Something fluttering.
Okay, good.
Um,
All
yeah.
right. Thank you. That's good. So anybody else got a communicator? What did it feel like?
I'm Crystal.
Hi, Crystal.
Hi. I talk with people all the time, but talking to somebody on purpose for this exercise, I felt incredibly naked.
Ah, thank you.
And that was a little like, shit. But it was with my husband, and we're really working hard on communicating with each other. So I thought this is an exciting opportunity for us. And I was excited to have this exercise today.
All right. Thank you. Good. So I like that. She felt naked. So you see that we're trying to get to the point of something that's up under the words we use, right? Before I label excitement or sadness, there is a sensation in my body. Now, trust me, the first time that, going through psychology courses, we had to see a therapist a few times just to get used to that idea, right? And the first time they said, well, what does it feel like when you want to cry? And I said, it feels like I want to cry. I mean, we went through this for 10 minutes, round and around. And then I was angry and I said, why do you keep asking me the same question? He says, because you're giving me the same answer. So I had to learn how to get to the sensation of those emotions myself, right? And that's what we're really talking about today. There's something else up under there. There can be so some people, when I say we're going to do a communication active listening exercise, and they thought they were going to have to communicate, they might have like got upset, angry, nervous, worried. I don't want to communicate. I don't want to do that. But the sensation was a little icky feeling in their gut, right? Or this little churning in their gut. Well, maybe the next person over here loves to talk about themselves and they're like, oh, I'll be the communicator. I got this feeling in my gut. I want to talk, right? They gave that feeling in their gut a different name, a different emotion. You had the same feeling probably, but one thinks it's good, exciting, fun, and the other one thinks, I ain't doing this. Right? All right. So we did that. So, yes, communication takes trust, vulnerability, a sense of safety, right? We have to feel safe to express our emotions and our thoughts to another individual, right? Now, here's the kicker about our human nature. We have a negative bias inside of us that looks for danger. You remember those antennas? They're out here all the time. Their whole job is to keep us safe, to keep us alive, right? Survival. So we're always looking for danger. Now, here's the thing about that negative bias and that those negative emotions is that they're stronger than the happy ones, right? So let's just imagine that you're about 10 years old and you're on the playground at school and you've got your best friend, your best buddy. Every day, y'all go to the playground, have a great big time. You're almost done with the whole school year, and the teacher comes out and says, today we're going to divide up in teams, and they pick two captains to pick teams. Well, your best friend, your buddy, the whole year, doesn't pick you to be on her team. Oh my God, why not? I mean, that's just like, whew, right? That hurts the heart, right? That one emotional day on the playground might be all you remember about every day you had on the playground that year because it is supercharged to keep you safe in the future because you might not ever want to put yourself out there again that way because I got to protect myself now. Does that make sense? Those negative events, those negative emotions carry more weight than the positive ones, and they stick in every cell in your body. I don't think that's fair, but it's the way it works, right? Because it has a purpose to keep you alive from being hurt that way again, from being injured in the future, okay? Yeah, and not only that, but we go into an event nowadays and we compare nowadays events to what happened in the past subconsciously. You after that day, you might have decided that you didn't ever want to be on a team or you didn't want to put yourself out there. And here you are grown and 50 years old and you're still avoiding situations where people pick teams and you don't know why, right? So that's what we do. We compare everything we do today to what happened to me in the past. And we make a decision subconsciously about how we're going to react to it. Okay. Today's threats, there might be a few, right? Anxiety and chronic stress. We perceive too many things as a threat. And that's that fear basis, right? If you watch TV, the news, if you play on social media, it is all meant to kind of keep you and feeling a little bit of threat, right? So we keep you on edge. We keep you a little scared. Relationship strains, focusing on flaws over positives, right? So, the easiest thing to think of is your partner, somebody that's close to you, you're mad at them, and all of a sudden you're looking at everything they do to prove that they're a bad person, right? They can't eat their food properly, they can't chew quietly, they can't, you know, they can't do anything because you're mad at them, right? So you're trying to prove that you're right and they're awful people, right? And you know it's not, but you can't get out of that negative bias protecting yourself. You have a difficult feeling safe, even in secure situations, and your reduced resilience because calm states are not prioritized. So here's the thing about that nervous system too, is that sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, right? One that's sympathetic, it keeps us alive, always on threat, go, 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 right? Parasympathetic, I'm nice and calm, I take a slow breath, the body feels safe. When the body feels safe, your nervous system can be balanced again. If you do not feel safe, consciously or subconsciously, you are up here. And it is almost impossible to get back down here unless you have help. Now, heart math is a way to help, right? So we have that focused breathing. What they now know, physiology and proof in scientific terms, is that when we inhale to say the count of 5, we exhale to the count of 7 or 8, the body interprets that as being safe. Because if you're fighting and bleeding for your life, you cannot take a slow exhale. You cannot do it if you're in stress mode and you're trying to protect yourself. But the minute you sit down and say, I'm going to exhale 2 to 3 seconds longer than my inhale, the body's internal mechanism says, oh, you must be in a safe place. I'll bring your sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system into balance. It can be that easy. Yeah, right. All right. So our sympathetic nervous system's on high alert there. Heart math. People are just scratching the surface of awareness regarding the focused power of love to create harmony, order, in a seemingly impossible situation. So how do we do it when my nervous system is right up here, right? How do I bring myself back down so I can make intelligent decisions based off real life events and not that perceived danger? Not that, where you have to be on alert all the time. How can I bring myself back to being calm? All right, so now we get to talk a little bit about heart math and the math that's associated with it. So we've been talking about the science, right? The body, the nervous system, and just a little bit about the math, weaving it all together. So we talked about physiology, the heart's electromagnetic field. Neurobiology is that neuroception. And that embodied awareness is where we feel it, we interpret it, we understand it, we begin to know more about it, is that internal awareness, right? And so we cannot separate ourselves from our environment either. It's just that our environment is constantly feeding us information and we're not separated from it. It's no different than the heart and the brain being one. We are one with nature. We are one with everything that's around us. So a concept of heart math revolves around heart coherence, defined as a state of synchronization between the heart, the brain, and other physiological body systems. Heart coherence. Now, the way that they have measured heart coherence is through our heartbeat, and I'll show you that just in a minute, but we have heart rhythms. You remember when I said everything on that vagal nerve feeds up to the heart, and then the heart comes up to the brain? So there's a whole lot more information in that heartbeat than just the heartbeat, right? There's all this other information coming in, and they can break it down now into different frequencies and different time domains, and almost tell you if the lower part of your body is a little off coherent, or if it may be up in the upper body, right? So if we're incoherent, we're frustrated, we're angry, we're unhappy, we're depressed, this is what your heart rhythms look like. The top red. If you're happy, you're feeling better, life is good, right? Love, appreciation, gratitude, these kind of emotions. The one on the bottom is what your heart coherence starts to look like. This is not exactly your heartbeat. It's the information that they're taking out of the heartbeat, okay? That is a perfectly good coherence. Mine's never looked that good. So, all right. So this is a heart rate variability is how they actually measure coherence. So when it says that your heartbeat is 70 beats per minute, it's never just 70 beats per minute, right? It could be 60, then 70, then 85, and then back down to 70. So they average it out at 70 beats per minute. But we have a huge variation between each heartbeat. At least we should. The more variation we have in our heartbeat, the stronger we are. That means our vagal nerve is able to constantly bring us up to balance, right? Because if we're up here and the heartbeat's real fast and the blood pressure's real high, That's putting a lot of stress on all the physiological systems in the body, right? And you don't have a whole lot of heart rate variability. It just stays real high, right? It's never coming back down. So you want that parasympathetic nervous system to be able to level you off so you can have a high heartbeat and a low heartbeat, and a high heartbeat and a low heartbeat, right? That's heart rate variability. They they plot it and then do a lot of mathematical stuff to it. And they take the heartbeat at each given point and they plot it on a line at the peak point. And you can see between on the bottom one, maybe you can tell with that heart rate, the heart measurement there, heartbeat measurement, it gets faster and then it gets slower. The beats get farther apart and then the beats gets closer together. And so they're plotting that in the blue line up above it, right? And so that's what they're calling heart rhythms. Our heart rate variability line is what looks like at the top, right? Now, depleting versus renewing emotions. When we are on the left side of this chart, we're in high flight, sympathetic nervous system, go, go, go. We've got a whole lot of cortisol in the body, right? We've got negative emotions constantly running through the system, but frustration, anger, anxiety, right? Our heart rate variability looks like the top high and the cortisol line there. Heart rate variability is real erratic, right? Lots of signals going on there. When we shift our energy and our emotion to the right side of this chart, and we might be able to find just contentment, serenity, right? Just a little bit of appreciation for something. You can begin to change your heart rate variability. It begins to level out. It begins to look more like the perfect one in that picture a while ago, right? When we get up to love and appreciation, it takes 3 to 6 minutes of feeling love and appreciation or gratitude to reach every cell in the body. And then once that happens, it is like a contagious thing in the body. The cells pick up on it and say, oh, you're happy, you're in love. Let's spread a little bit more of that through the body, right? You have to be safe to be there. You're safe. There's more gratitude. You have more creativity, right? You find new answers to things when you're in this state. And the point is that we have the control to take ourselves out of a depleted emotion and bring ourselves into a nice, calm state. And not only that, we can spread it, right? Yep. All right. So are we ready to practice finally? Right? So I'll talk a little bit first. And the biggest thing I see is, with all their practices, right, there's about 4 steps and they all lead to each other. The first one, the second one, the third one kind of gets us there. And the first problem we see mostly today is that we're in that sympathetic nervous system mode and we don't always know it. We just know something's off. I'm just not feeling 100%. Or you did have an argument with your boss and you don't know how to respond and you're so angry you can't stand it. They tell a story about a lady that would go to the bathroom and lock herself into the stall, and she would sit here and do this first thing, freeze, right? You just freeze what you're feeling, what you're thinking. Like, I don't want to continue on this negative path, so I'm just going to put a stop to it, right? Freeze frame, just stop it. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to say, what am I feeling, right? And then after I recognize what I'm feeling, then I'm going to start to breathe, just like we were doing a while ago. I'm going to start to breathe in and slowly breathe out. And 5 breaths or 6 breaths at that pace, 5 seconds in, 6 seconds out, you can shift your body from panic, I don't know what I'm going to do, to nice and calm, okay? Once you do that, your prefrontal cortex has come back online. You're no longer in those emotional limbic systems. Then you can say, now I'm going to turn to my heart and see if I can come up with an answer for this problem. Okay? Are y'all ready to practice? Yeah. All right, let's give it a quick little go here. So go ahead and get comfortable. Again, if you need to shake it out, do so. Get comfortable. And just begin to bring yourself back into the chair and And if you're comfortable closing your eyes, please go ahead and close your eyes. And then just check in with your nervous system. What are you feeling right now? What have you been feeling this week? What's been up for you, right? Just freeze frame it. Just say, I'm going to let all that go. I'm going to take a couple of breaths in. I'm going to inhale to the count of 5. And I'm going to exhale to the count of 7. And if you're noticing any sensations in your body, don't get caught up in the stories. Don't get caught up in the judgment. Just say, there's that knot. There's that tightness. Can I let that go? Can I breathe into it? Can I just whoosh? Imagine I'm inhaling in my heart. And then as I inhale through my heart, I'm exhaling that through the rest of my body. And now you can begin to count to 5 as you inhale and 5 as you exhale. You've done the job of bringing your nervous system into a safe place. And now we're just going to inhale to 5 and exhale to the count of 5. And if you do that for 6 nice breaths, we can bring our heart and our brain into coherence. And then we can begin to spread that through the body. Right? And if there's any sensation that you've been feeling or being carried with you that's of the negative emotions or the depleting emotions, maybe you can just name it, you can feel it, and you can say, you know what? I want to have a more appreciation emotion. I want to feel love or gratitude. So begin to think of something that's really easy for you, a pet, a child, a best friend, somebody that is easy for you to have love for. And see if you can feel that emotion in your body. Maybe in your heart area. That's love. That's gratitude. What does it feel like? Remember, before we name it or word, what does it feel like in the body? And remember, just 3 minutes of feeling that sensation of love or gratitude or appreciation for something or someone shifts every cell in your body. It changes the chemical of the emotion, hormones and saliva in your mouth, and it makes you more, it strengthens your immune system. So just by 3 minutes of focusing on something that's easily to bring you love or gratitude or joy. So once you feel like you've got that in your body and you can spread it, let's imagine spreading it throughout the room, right? I think we got a lot of nice, coherent people in this room. We can build a whole electromagnetic field of love and gratitude. And then let's think about expanding it to outside these walls, right? The neighborhood, down the street. Maybe there's somebody that needs to feel some love that's just down the street. Maybe they need to be able to feel a little bit of appreciation for who they are. Getting in touch with that sensation is where it's all at. It's how we grow it in our own body. We spread it to the people we love, and then we spread it outside. And then just take a note, take a minute to notice what it is you're feeling, a sensation, a thought. Bring the thought into a sensation, and then begin to bring yourself back to the room and opening your eyes. Ooh, y'all look nice and calm, right? How was that? Can you can you get the idea of we're just building blocks, right? First I have to stop the madness. I have to stop the mind chatter. I have to stop everything that's going on, right? And then I have to be able to get in touch with that. What do I feel? Oh, I feel resentment. I don't want to feel resentment. I'd much rather feel appreciation. Can I think about something that would bring me to appreciation? Because you know what you're really doing. You're constantly thinking about something that's building that resentment, right? The mind's resentment, 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 doggone you, right? Let's change that. Cut it off. Think about appreciation. Have the mind going there. And then after 5 or 6 nice, calm breaths, all of a sudden you feel that warmth in your body. Ah, that's gratitude. That's love. And then we can spread it to others. And the more we practice, the easier it is for us to do it. And the more we notice the minute something pulls us out. No, I don't want to go there. I'm going back to here, right? I'm going back to right here. Okay. All right. Thank y'all very much for playing.
I learn something new from her every time she speaks. I learn a little something else to deepen my own practice. Let me see. I'm gonna scroll through these. I have, what time is it? Okay, I have one last thing I want you to see. It's a fun little, keep clicking. Insights, ideas. We don't have time for Q&A, unfortunately. That, let's go back here.
Finish in under 3 minutes and dissect some lessons. First, of course, a leader needs the guts to stand alone and look ridiculous. But what he's doing is so simple, it's almost instructional. This is key. You must be easy to follow. Now here comes the first follower with a crucial role.
Intro this video for you. This video is about how we start a movement. How many of you have seen it before? If you come here, you've probably seen it at least once. It's one of my favorite things, but it really shows you of just how simple it is to get a movement going. And that's what we're trying to do here. You know, there's enough crazy out there in the world. It's time for us to step into our power and do what we can in our own circles of influence. So I hope you enjoy this little video.
If you've learned a lot about leadership and making a movement, then let's watch a movement happen start to finish in under 3 minutes and dissect some lessons. First, of course, a leader needs the guts to stand alone and look ridiculous. But what he's doing is so simple, it's almost instructional. This is key. You must be easy to follow. Now here comes the first follower with a crucial role. He publicly shows everyone else how to follow. Notice how the leader embraces him as an equal. So it's not about the leader anymore. It's about them, plural. Notice how he's calling to his friends to join in. So it takes guts to be a first follower. You stand out, you brave ridicule yourself. Being a first follower is an underappreciated form of leadership. The first follower transforms a lone nut into a leader. If the leader is the flint, the first follower is the spark that really makes the fire. Now here's the second follower. This is a turning point. It's proof the first has done well. Now it's not a lone nut and it's not two nuts. 3 is a crowd and a crowd is news. A movement must be public. Make sure outsiders see more than just the leader. Everyone needs to see the followers because new followers emulate followers, not the leader. Now here come 2 more people, then 3 more immediately. Now we've got momentum. This is the tipping point and now we have a movement. As more people jump in, it's no longer risky. If they were on the fence before, there's no reason not to join in now. They won't stand out, they won't be ridiculed, and they will be part of the in crowd if they hurry. And over the next minute, you'll see the rest who prefer to stay part of the crowd, because eventually they'd be ridiculed for not joining. And ladies and gentlemen, that is how a movement is made. So let's recap what we've learned. If you are a version of the shirtless dancing guy, all alone, remember the importance of nurturing your first few followers as equals, making everything clearly about the movement, not you. Be public, be easy to follow. But the biggest lesson here, did you catch it? Leadership is over-glorified. Yes, it started with the shirtless guy, and he'll get all the credit, but you saw what really happened. It was the first follower that transformed a lone nut into a leader. There's no movement without the first follower. See, we're told that we all need to be leaders, but that would be really ineffective. The best way to make a movement, if you really care, is to courageously follow and show others how to follow. When you find a lone nut doing something great, have the guts to be the first person to stand up and join in.
Isn't that fun? We got a few lone nuts around here. Find someone worth following and do your thing, right?
Important.
All righty. So yes, how you can support this movement is to become a donor, be part of us. Come have a chat with me if you're interested in being part of this hub. Let's see, become a member, money, insights, connections, whatever it is, because we want to keep growing this movement, right? We need it. The world needs it today. So thank you. And here's a little affirmation, right? We are the ones that we've been waiting for. We're the ones who will make a difference. And there's a great song. Maybe you'll hear it later on. All right. So I think it's time now for our giving of our gifts and tithes. And go ahead, Donna.
So
it over here.
before we start this part, our leader of our Leadership Council, well, AKA Board of CSL Ocala, has a few thoughts to share with you. So take it away, Rich.
Thank you. And been back there practicing my heart-centered breathing, trying to get calm for this. Most of you have heard on Sunday mornings during this time of celebrating our abundance that we rely on your contributions to meet our expenses, which include things like utilities for electric, air conditioning, internet, phones, supplies for the office and cleaning, toilet paper and paper towels, and property and liability insurance and salaries, and just to name a few. There are more. But we've recently realized our financial situation is much worse than we thought. We usually have a nice positive bank balance, and at times it has looked quite healthy. But in truth, the problem was masked by some specified contributions, accumulations of fundraising funds from the Joyful Expressions fundraiser for the Posy trip, and the Green Guardians for their garden, community garden, and butterfly gardens. And funds were continued to being paid out, and at one point we actually overdrafted our checking account, and that cut off some more payments. And at one point, Cindy was not getting paid and had already been not being paid enough, in my opinion, but I think that we found our accountant had voluntarily stopped taking payments but continued sending invoices, and our reports are usually a little bit delayed, so we don't have up-to-date minute reports and things. But this is all came to a head recently when Joyful Expressions wanted to buy their tickets to go to the Posy, and there wasn't enough money in the checking account. So that opened an investigation that revealed we were over $14,000 in debt. And we owe the Joyful Expressions fundraising $3,505. We owe the garden fundraising $170. Cindy's salary is $8,000 in arrears. Science of Mind magazine, we owe $860. Bookkeeper, we owe $1,620. So there's a lot of debt there. To solve this problem, our finance committee created a new budget that's bare bones. And sadly, to make it a balanced budget, we even had to temporarily reduce Cindy's salary even more with her permission. Thank you. But that's temporary. And we are also cutting out guest musicians because we've had some losses from some of those events. We've reduced the number of Science of Mind magazines we purchase. We're reducing our tithing to conscious giving, and we're releasing our bookkeeper's services, and we'll do the books in-house. We have a plan in place to closely monitor our income and expenses and have set watermarks to trigger alarms if we start to go negative. There's also a plan to increase spending once we're comfortably have more income than expenses, and at that time, Reverend Cindy's salary will go back up. But to get out of debt and repay everyone that we owe, we are taking out a $14,000 loan. Fortunately, with no interest and with sliding scale payments. So that's nice. With all that said, I'd like to invite you to consider reviewing your gifts to the center. If you've been giving the same amount for a while, inflation affects the center too, so maybe think about an adjustment. For those that are tithing, thank you very much. You might want to consider doing a little more than 10%. Personally, I've found that you can't outgive spirit. If you only have a limited amount of money and can only give a small amount, we're grateful for that too. Some people may want to consider giving up maybe one Starbucks coffee or other treat and donating that. Maybe go dig in your couch cushions and get all the change. I'm simply asking that you be mindful of your giving from this point forward and help us to thrive and not just survive. Thank you.
That being said, thank you so much, Rich, and the finance team who sat down and picked the whole thing apart to figure out what happened. I love people who are analytical that way. It gives me a lot of stress, though. I'm not going to lie. I'm like, oh my God, oh my gosh. I go into panic, but I am working through that poverty consciousness myself because that's, you know, where I came from. And I'm working through it, right? That heart math, man, it kicks right in. So let's all just get into that space of breathing. Again, we are a collaborative unit. We have been doing this together, and thank goodness when we put the call out there as a unit, that loan came to us. So just breathe into that, that anonymous donor that stepped in and said, whoa, my family, and stepped up for us. And so now we are intentional with our giving so that that person gets that back. We honor that gift. Whenever we say our affirmation together, I invite you to just really embody this. Think about flowers when they're blooming and trees when they're giving their fruit. Do they go, oh my gosh, the mango is going to fall? No, I get to go to the islands and watch the guava tree with so much fruit, it touches the ground. The givingness of spirit is so much more than we can ever do. So that's the invitation, is to join spirit when you do this affirmation. And I invite you to do it with me right now before we step into this. It is the nature of life to give of itself, as it is the tree's nature to bear fruit and the flower's nature to bloom. It is my nature to share the gifts of my time, talent, and treasure. I participate in the divine flow of life, giving generously and receiving abundantly. I am blessed and I am a blessing. I am grateful. And so it is. And thank you so much to Pam and Aaron as they walk around with our baskets today. And if you have a prayer request, that's also your givingness. You can go ahead and write it on that slip, and we will help to hold that in divine energy for you, knowing the answer's already there. If you're one that gives once a month, every now and again, if you are one that even decided, you know what, this is my legacy, I'm about to put this in my will. Thank you, because it continues to make sure that this space continues to thrive and grow so that we may be here for moments like today. How awesome was that today? How awesome was that today? And it's because of the givingness of this group why we are in here. In the middle of summer in Florida, we have AC, y'all. In Jamaica, that's a big, 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 big thing. We have AC because of the givingness of you guys. So thank you so much. Oh, yes. Oh, you're the one that has it. She's hiding it from me. We also have text to tide 352-320-5110. If you are online in some other country, some other space, some other galaxy watching this, feel free to send us stars on Facebook. And also just, spread the message. They say that hatred and greed and all this negative stuff is so loud in our world. Well, love needs to also be loud. So we share these thoughts and we flood the algorithm with nothing but positivity because it will balance. Homeostasis is the truth of being, and the earth is making herself balance back, and we join in. So thank you. I invite you now to just step into that space of gratitude. Know that I am grateful knowing that divine energy that is abundance lives in and through and around all things. I know that because I'm a part of this planet, standing on this platform, breathing this air, I can't begin to count the amount of air molecules passing through my body in every given moment. I am also abundant. I know the same is true for money and for all that is our abundance to help this community to thrive, to help families thrive. It is also the truth of who we are. It is passing on the airwaves right now, floating all around me, this amazing abundance. And because it is my birthright to take this next breath, I breathe in that abundance and know that I too am a part of that flow of life. I am so grateful that I'm standing here today. I'm so grateful for this teaching. I'm grateful for leaders and community members who step forward in big ways and learn and grow and bring it back to me so that I may decipher the information and rise together. I'm so grateful for all of this, knowing that it's already done, releasing it now. And so it is. Amen. Ashe, ashe. I think we need a little bit more batteries. Hey, Rich, can you help me out with clicking? Thank you so much. All right, the Science of Mind magazine is in the bookstore. If you do not have the Science of Mind magazine already, go ahead and pick up a copy. They do try to do 2 months at a time, I believe, right, Aaron? 2 months at a time? Yes. So go ahead and grab that if you're one that needs to have that magazine in your hand. Don't forget that that's available to you. If you also would like a digital copy of this, you can sign up for it online and have it digitally come to your email every month. Yeah, for those of you who'd like to do that, there's also apps, y'all. There's so many ways to do this thing to get your spiritual food. You can also sign up for cslocala.org and go on that and sign up for our newsletter. This way you kind of know what's going on. We try to bring you all kinds of cool stuff. This way you can say, oh my goodness, I want to go to that thing. Oh my goodness, I want to check out that thing. All of this is available so that you may expand your awareness that all of it's God and all of it's here for you anyway. So I invite you to touch into what we got going on here and touch into what some of our folks are doing out there in the greater community. Like I know that Pam is out there doing her thing. So touch into what she's doing because this really could make a huge difference in your life. The Green Guardians, the GGs in the house. As you all walk around the premises, please walk around, go back into the woods, into that path, check out the space. There are people who put their time, talent, treasure, all of that into the actual grounds, the stewards of this land. No one owns this land, y'all. None of us do, but we are stewards of it. And we take wonderful care of this. And there are people out there sweating in this Florida sun so that we may walk barefooted in the grass. Thank you so much to the GGs out there. And if you'd like to join our GGs, right? If you'd like to join our GGs or even bring a little mini guardian, you know, the children, they need to be able to regulate that nervous system too. And being able to balance and ground is a practice that you can teach children, especially in a vibratory field right now that feels electric. Let them run around, let them be kids. Take them outside, teach them how and where their food comes from. Let them put their hands in the soil. And this is how you can do it. Scan that QR code and plug in your babies. I'm a grandmom, and I got to tell you, I don't have the energy to chase her. But I have a fenced-in yard, y'all. And so I let Mother Nature do it, and those trees are so forgiving. I'm just like, sorry, 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 as she goes by. But now she's getting older and learning the language of plants. And we live on a planet, and they should know that they are not the only beings on this planet. We share this planet with others, and so we need to recognize them. Like bumblebees, don't step on them. They will give you something. Right. Wish upon a wing. You guys, look around you. See all these little butterflies? And there's a table here. Hey, Gigi, team leader, do you want to tell them about this? Are we getting there? We're currently at 119, but it's actually longer. 308 is where they are right. She hasn't had a chance to update the site. This is something that our finance team is starting to make it more visible so that you guys can kind of see what's happening in the background. If you're part of our volunteer teams, can you just raise your hand for a moment? Blessings raining down upon your body, your mind, your spirit as you come into this building when no one else is here and care for the people who come here. So thank you so much. If you'd like to join in and to help this movement, we want to get butterflies in that garden because we're on a planet, y'all, and we need the pollinators. Without them, we don't survive. So that is why we have that butterfly garden. We want to get some plants in. If you have a beautiful garden at home, oh my goodness, there she is. She got her seeds here. Thank you. We're going to be bringing, if it is native to this area, please see our GGs or somebody with our community garden Pearl. Take a copy of it. If somebody can take a picture of this for me, I need to send this to Reverend Peggy. She needs this as well. Yes, I just got some palms from her. Amazing. So yes, we want to keep those pollinators here, and Florida needs to continue. The land is very flat. We need to take care of it. Volunteer opportunities are here. If you are one that just likes to do stuff and would like to do stuff with other people, please scan this QR code. I am sure that one of our teams would be available for you to plug in whatever it is you love to do, no matter how small. It's just a part of how energy leaves your form. And when you want more time, you volunteer time. And guess what? It's the one community you can never get back. So that is why we give our time, talent, and treasure. So thank you so much for that. And blessing our children. Okay, so we had, oh, I don't know if did Amanda and the boys take off? They had to leave. You know what? It's okay. It's okay. Guess what? We got a couple of fur babies in the house. No. My little fur baby's no longer here, sir. If y'all met her, she's amazing. There's inner child in all of us. So let's go ahead and still bless our child and bless our little fur babies as they hold ground for us, right? So just rubbing them all together. It's just an acknowledgement right now of that smallest piece of you, the most vulnerable piece of you. And we say, we honor you. We see your light. May it shine on all that you do. And just point it a little bit at our little fur babies there, because they're always subject to our energy field, right? We honor you. We see your light. May it shine on all that you do. And so it is. Thank you guys so much for that. And now we get, guess what we get to do? Stack chairs. We get to stack chairs. For those of you who would love to use your muscles and your body to help us, we get to stack chairs as soon as we're done with this. But the prayer for protection, I invite you to do it with me from our Unity brothers and sisters. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you guys so much. And next week, what's happening here, because we didn't have a slide on it, I'm actually going to be hosting and teaching meditative drumming. I drum because of my Maroon heritage in Jamaica and because my mom and grandmother were revivalists. So we move energy using the drum. And the drum, yes, the drum was actually taken from us as a people because of it and how powerful it was. But it is the first thing you're subject to as you come into this experience, this human experience, is the heartbeat. You were formed in the drum, honey. And that is why we will be drumming together. You have to kind of unzip your adult self, though, at the door. Because you can't bring, yeah, you can't bring that. I'm sorry. It can't be that person that comes in. Has to be your inner little child that comes in. If you have a energy musician instrument at home, I'm talking about rain sticks, drums, that kind of thing. Bring them. We're going to play together. We're going to make noise. It's going to be lots of fun. If you're a noise sensitive person and you have headphones, I invite you to bring them. I will have a couple, but for sure. You want to do the drumming. We have two big indigenous drums that will be here from a native friend of mine. Grandmother and great grandmother drum will be present. So we'll be doing the drum lesson first and then going into the circle. Okay. And this is using this as a practice to regulate your nervous system. Sometimes you got to pound it out of your body, man. Get rid of it. The inflammation's got to leave. I lost weight because of it. I didn't work out. I drummed. So thank you guys so much. That's all, folks.
But I do volunteer at Unity, so I'm in the golf cart. Oh.
Yeah, next month is all about expression.